Well, well, look who has awakened from their slumber. Hello, PA. You ready? Let's do this. Hello and welcome, rookie card collecting friends. Victor, the rookie card specialist, coming at you with a special episode all about the NFL Players Association. You guys already know the story. There's no need in regurgitating news. Here's the bottom line. The NFL Players Association says that Panini is out and Fanatics is in. Is that legal? Oh boy, is there a bunch of questions here, right? It has us all really speculating quite a bit. And if you don't know, here on this channel, we look at the past and present day status of the rookie card, all in an effort to better understand the future of this hobby icon. Now, this channel has over 175 videos, and I didn't do the count, but I feel pretty confident in saying that about a third of my videos either speaks directly or indirectly about the Players Association. Why? Because they have been such a major change agent when it comes to the rookie card. Now, the first thing I want to tackle is speculation, right? There's a lot of speculation going on. There are some folks that I have been reading in comments that really are taking exceptions to all of the speculation that is going on. And I get that. I mean, there's this thing that is the first to report hobby news is kind of like gets all the views and all the comments and all the attention, but it's one of them things where you got to be first to market with that kind of stuff, right? And I don't have the time, and it's not something that I really like doing anyways. I typically, when big news drops like this, I don't like to just speculate or I don't like to just read an announcement and throw something out there. Some folks can. Some folks are very intelligent, and they have the ability to kind of just bring their thoughts together quickly. I'm one where I'm more of a thinker, and I have to really speculate and figure things out and kind of organize my thoughts. Really, the very definition of speculation: a conclusion or opinion reached by contemplation. Let me read that again. A conclusion or opinion reached by contemplation. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're thinking things through. We're contemplating. We're thinking about this news that dropped, and we're trying to formulate an opinion. We're trying to formulate a conclusion as to what we think is going to be the next step. And so I think as content creators, we do have a responsibility to speculate. I think as content creators, our community has an expectation of us that they want to know our opinion. I know there have been times, many times, where there has been issues that drop with, say, rookie cards, and I will have lots of people direct messaging me or sending me emails or what have you, wanting to know my opinion on the matter. So I think as content creators, we do have the responsibility to give our opinion. But at the same time, right, we can't be reaching too far to where we create a false narrative.
A bullshit?
So that's kind of like the fine balance there. And so long as you're kind of, you know what you're listening to or who you're listening to and kind of the intent behind everything, I think you'll be able to figure all that out by yourself. I just wanted to bring clarification on the speculation thing, because I've been hearing a lot of comments on it. Why are so many people speculating this, that, or the other? And I get it. That's how come I took my time. And when it came to that type of comment, I kind of contemplated it, right? There is something to that, but there's also another side of that coin. Moving on, I want to talk about this situation between the Players Association and Panini. I've said it before. I don't exactly know, maybe Hobby Hotline or somewhere else, but I have recently made the analogy of misbehaving children. My analogy was simply this, is that misbehaving children misbehave oftentimes because the parents fall short. The parents in this analogy being the Players Association and the leagues. And so when it's one of them things where, like, if disorder leads to more disorder, leads to more disorder. And so it's one of them things where I have been calling out, hello, Players Association, where you at? Let's dig our heads out of the sand for just a minute. Hello, PA, let's come and address the children because your children are misbehaving. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, this past week, the Players Association made an appearance. Thank you, Players Association, for coming to the game. Now, with that becomes, right, a lot of legal minutia because mom and dad come with the hammer, right? Here they come. They're gonna drop the hammer and they're gonna tell it like it is. Effective immediately. I'd love to know how that's working out for them. But that's the case. That's the situation we're under. Now, I've been one where, I've given the Players Association credit because I believe in 2006, when they stepped in, they brought some structure to the rookie card. And I've given them kudos for that because I think it was a step in the right direction, especially when you look at the shenanigans that were being played by the multiple card manufacturers at the time. I believe there needed to be structure and boundaries, and they brought that. However, like anything else, gray area was created. And so things now got a little twisted. And I believe that there has been, we have strategically forsaken the rookie card guidelines by way of the industry, by way of the dealers, and eventually collectors. And they have been strategically forsaken because they don't want structure. They don't want boundaries for the rookie card. They want everything and anything to be a rookie card because the rookie card, folks, is chaotic, and chaos creates cash. And that's how come I believe that strategically we have forsaken those guidelines. Them things that don't matter. They're all rookie cards. And that's how come we have players today with 3,000 plus rookie cards. But my friends, I'm here to tell you that not all rookie cards are created equal. I can also tell you, my friends, that I have been very critical of the Players Association because I feel that the rookie card thing has gotten out of control and they have done little to nothing in trying to rectify that issue. I have also attempted to reach out to them via email. I even made videos on that, and I have gotten zero response. I am wanting to speak with somebody for the BA because I need clarification on certain things. I'm trying to reach out because obviously the public doesn't have a record of contracts when it comes to the Players Association. We don't have no legal document to really verify anything. But what I have found through my research here and there is that I have found breadcrumbs. I have found little pieces that have been left behind that allow me to put together this puzzle piece to really verify how the rookie card has evolved over the last 2 decades. Now, I do believe that it is time once again to redefine a rookie card. It's time now. It has evolved many a times over the decades, and we have recorded those changes through Beckett Publications. Those changes were recorded throughout history, but it seems like since 2006 to now, there's nothing. There's no verbiage. There's no guidelines. There's no, so many people have questions on rookie cards. When you go reading certain social media platforms, I spend a lot of time explaining to folks when what is so-and-so's best rookie card? What is the true rookie card? Which one's the first? And we have so much questions and so many, and there's no answers. And this is how come I've created a free resource just for you. And you can check it out on my website at truerookiecards.com. There at the very top of the homepage, you're going to see a link that's going to take you straight to rookie card guidelines and best practices. You can download that free resource. You can study it, and it's going to explain to you kind of how things have evolved and kind of give you guidelines and best practices. With that said, I also want to talk about the process. This is a very complicated process that is going to evolve here, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of speculation. And the reason why I'm speculating is because I do have experience in this field. I am by no ways a legal professional at all. What I do have is prior experience in my industry. At one point in time, I have been at the railroad industry now for real close to 30 years. It's going to be, and I have, I started from the bottom. I started as a laborer, and I worked my way through the ranks over the years, and I accomplished the goal of being superintendent of my department. And with that responsibility, I was able to, I was the manager of a locomotive fleet with an estimated value of about $200 million. And all of that maintenance and legal records of that fleet landed on my shoulders, but also the multiple union agreements that I was responsible for. In my shop, there was 6 unions. I had machinists, electricians, pipe fitters, boilermakers, laborers, and supervisors, each of them having their own little niche about their own contract. You see, a union organization typically has 2 contracts that they work off of. The first one is the national agreement. Now, the national agreements typically just spells out their healthcare benefits, their pay benefits, their vacation benefits, that sort of thing. And just it's a basic contract that really is all encompassing. And then there's a second contract that basically deals with work agreements. Now, the work agreements also have a universal component to them, but they may also have amendments in there that basically gives you the entire work scope of that craft. It basically gives you the responsibilities of that craft, of what's allowable and what's not allowable. So we come into a work agreement, and that work agreement can change. It can vary within the local level. And so if there's a change, we typically will type up an amendment to that local agreement. And so everybody's on the same page. And so those are the types of things. And that's how basically every union works. And it's one of them things where all of the unions have there's a little niche in each and every organization. And I made it a point to know and study each and every craft's contract. I read them all front to back because I wanted to respect their agreements. And I know, as somebody who started from the bottom and worked their way up, I wanted to build rapport with my men. I wanted to earn their respect, and I wanted to respect their work agreements. So I took the time to read them and to know them. And I come to find out this is that some contracts, as I was studying all of these agreements, I ended up finding out that some contracts are written kind of weak. And I'm reading this thing and I'm like, man, really? There's like hardly anything to this work agreement. And then others were like they were written very broad, very, I questioned whether it was written by a union member or a manager, because they were written in such a way that gave permission to the company to do whatever they wanted with this union organization. It just gave the company a lot of flexibility to do what they must with this organization. But some of the strongest unions that I had to contend with was the unions that actually had a lot of details in their agreements. And those were the ones that were typically the toughest to deal with, only because your union agreement is going to supersede company policy. And so that was always one of them things where I would like scratch my head, because I'm like, I couldn't believe what I was reading. And my point is this. So when it comes to like Panini and Fanatics, it's one of them things where it all depends on how these contracts are written. Now they've called out on arbitration, which they have the right to do, which is something that they should do. So this situation is going to fall on the desk of an arbitrator, and the arbitrator is going to take a look at it and basically listen to the complaints from both sides. But at the end of the day, from at least in my industry, now I don't know about, the card industry, but in my industry, they'll listen to both sides, and it's typically going to be, what does the contract say? And that's going to be the bottom line. Things like past practice, the hobby, opinions, he said, she said, all of that is nonsense. What's going to happen is they're going to listen to the complaints on both sides, and they're going to say, what does the contract say? At the end of the day, it's going to be what's in black and white and their interpretation of what's in black and white versus the complaint. And that's what's going to come of it. Now they're going to try, I'm sure they're going to more than likely try to come to a resolve. Typically, they will try to come to a resolve. If they cannot, then what they're doing is they're binding arbitration. And what that means then is whatever the arbitrator says, that's what goes. And that's how it's going to be. And so it's really, I think, in the best interest of Panini and Fanatics, and it's in the best interest of the hobby for them to find a resolve for all of this. If it goes to arbitration, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but there's also a lot of things that can go right. So I don't think they should wait to take it that far. I think, that there needs to be a little bit of humility here, a little bit of let's stop fighting and let's find a truce. A little bit of, hey, let's figure this out because this is what's best for everybody. I'm gonna end with a story, and it's a pretty political story, and I don't want this to come off in a political way either. This has nothing to do with politics, but it's a story that's going to have a point at the end of it to what we're talking about. But around 2015, it was right around the time President Trump was campaigning for presidency. And he was interviewed by 60 Minutes. The conversation about China came up. And Trump's language of China was very rude, was very demanding, was very in your face. And the interviewer for 60 Minutes was kind of taken back by all of this. Like, whoa, hey, wait a minute here. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to start a war with China or something? What the person who was interviewing them asked, what makes you think that you can change anything with China? A very good question. And Trump basically said this: the contracts have to be fair to both sides. If they're not fair to both sides, they need to be rewritten. And if they're not rewritten, they're going to be broken. And that's kind of what we have here. There's an element that the language of effective immediately is not moving the needle for Panini. And Panini is releasing football product regardless of what, why they're doing that? Because the contract is unfair and there is a breach of contract. And if the contract is unfair and there's a breach, then the contract is going to be broken. And so if it's broken, all bets are off. We'll see you in court and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. And so that's kind of where we're at with it. And it's an intense situation that really has my interest, and I will be sure to follow this as it progresses. And another point that I want to make is, at least in my industry now, when things go to arbitration, we go back to business as usual. Okay, your grievance or your complaint is going to be heard by the courts. And in my industry, it typically takes 2 to 3 years before your case is even heard. But in the meantime, we go back to business as usual. So that's going to be something to really consider or keep an eye on long term as we move forward with this case. And lastly, here's my takeaway for all of this. My advice that I would give to the Players Association, to Panini and to Fanatics, and even the arbitrator. We have an opportunity, and it all boils down to this. Let's do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. Let's do what's best for the hobby. And let's do never mind what's best for our pocketbooks. At this point, in my opinion, you folks are printing money. You're not printing sports cards, you're printing money. And for the sake of everything good in this world, let's do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. On a side note, I do want to end with this. On my last video, which I called Rookie Card Role Reversal, Sarcasm Warranted, I wanted to say that I was not trying to offend anybody, and if I did, I'm sorry. This was simply a parody of and really, what is a parody, right? It's a humorous imitation of something serious, and that was kind of my intent in all of this. I wasn't trying to knock any new collectors or people that come into the hobby lately. That wasn't even part of the equation, really. The main point of that video and the gist of it was I wanted to do a role reversal. I wanted you to see what I see. And that is, every card that I showed on that video was not a rookie card. And so I wanted to kind of like do a role reversal in that aspect, because I wanted you to see what I see. And hopefully you picked up on that. And that was the intent of the video. But I wanted it to be also humorous, right? I'll leave a link to it at the end of this one so you can check it out. But listen, I really do appreciate you tuning in. If you like this content, give the channel a follow and give me a thumbs up on this video. And I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I will catch you on the next one.
The true Jordan rookie from 1985.